Russia could be a Cold War-type partner for Europe, German leader Angela Merkel has said. But U.S. policy on Iran was depressing, and its claim that German cars were a security threat was scary, she added in a speech at the Munich Security Conference, an international congress in Germany, on Saturday, the 16th of February. Mike Pence linked EU's support of Iran nuclear arms accord to antisemitism in his Munich speech. Photo, Security Conference.de. Russia had illegally annexed Crimea, attacked eastern Ukraine, and violated a ban on short-range nuclear missiles, Merkel said. The EU ought to consider extra sanctions on Moscow over its recent naval aggression against Ukraine, she added. But there was hope of returning to better times via diplomacy, she also said. After the fall of the Berlin Wall, we certainly had the hope that we could come to a better cooperation, Merkel said. Today, in 2019, that seems like a long time ago. But in a few years, it could look very different again, she said. There was also nothing wrong in Germany's plan to build a new gas pipeline to Russia, called Nord Stream 2, she added. If we got Russian gas already in the Cold War, and the old German Federal Republic introduced Russian gas on a large scale, then I don't know why times today should be so much worse that we cannot say, Russia remains a partner, Merkel said, referring to the former West Germany. The Chancellor spoke as EU foreign ministers prepared to add names to a Russia blacklist on Monday over its naval skirmish against Ukraine in November. She has long supported EU and US sanctions on Russia over its invasion of Ukraine. But she has also defended Nord Stream 2 despite US and wider warnings that it posed a strategic threat for EU energy security. U.S. rift. Merkel spoke amid an EU rift with U.S. President Donald Trump on Iran and on transatlantic trade. Trump, last May, walked out of an EU-backed nuclear arms control pact with Iran and has threatened EU firms with sanctions if they did business there. He has also imposed tariffs on EU products, including German cars, which his administration has described as posing a risk to American security. We have to be careful about this split on Iran, which is very depressing, Merkel said. Look, we are proud of our cars, and we may as well be. These cars are also built in the United States of America. South Carolina is the largest BMW plant, not in Bavaria, South Carolina, she added, referring to a German region and a U.S. state. The Chancellor mocked previous U.S. justifications of the tariff regime. If these cars, which are no less threatening by the fact that they are built in South Carolina than by being built in Bavaria, are suddenly a threat to the national security of the United States of America, that scares us, she said. She made an impassioned appeal for a return to normal U.S. ties. We have to fight for Europe. We have to fight for multilateralism, she said. Her views were echoed by a senior EU official and a former US one at the Munich event. We want to believe it, the EU-US relationship will be fine again later because we have no alternative, Natalie Tocci, an advisor to EU Foreign Relations Chief Federica Mogherini told US newspaper The New York Times there. The Europeans are holding their breath and thinking that it's maybe only 2 more years, Victoria Nuland, a former senior U.S. diplomat, said, referring to Trump's remaining time in office. Bully and bullier Norbert Röttgen, an MP from Merkel's center-right CDU party who chairs the German parliament's Foreign Affairs Committee, said the Western split may be deeper than Trump, however. In the post-Trump era, there is no return to the pre-Trump era. The status quo is Europe's security is guaranteed by the United States. That won't happen again, he said. For his part, Mike Pence, the U.S. vice president, urged the EU to fall in line on Iran in a speech shortly after Merkel's one in Munich on Saturday. He also insinuated that EU's support for the Iran arms deal was linked to antisemitism. Europe should react by drawing a line in the sand on Trump's bullying, Iranian Foreign Minister Javad Zarif said. If the United States were to come in the course of their fight with China and told Europe stop dealing with China, what would you do? He said. Whatever you want to do then, do now, in order to prevent that eventuality. Because a bully will get bullier if you succumb, Zarif added.